Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants around the world. Welcome to the online conference, WURI 2021. My name is Wen Yanyin, the senior researcher of the Institute for Policy and Strategy on National Competitiveness, IPSNC, and I will be the master of ceremony for today's online conference. So before we start, I would like to thank our partner institutes that supported and also made the conference happen. The four institutes are Hanseatic League of Universities, the Institute for Industry Policy Studies, Taylor Institute for Franklin University, Switzerland, and UN Institute for Training and Research. Thank you for all your support. The topic of our conference today is very important. The changing environment in these days requires more engagement of universities, not just creating new knowledge through traditional research and education, but also solving the real world problems. This thus requires a new role of universities and also a new ranking system to evaluate their impacts and contribution to the society. To this end, we developed a new ranking system, or WURI Ranking, which aims to measure the performance of the universities for the contribution to the real world society. So this ranking system actually was introduced last year, the inaugural online forum. And this year is the second year for us to release these WURI rankings. Now, without further ado, let's begin with the congratulatory remarks. Each speaker will give us a remark for about 5 minutes. The first speaker is Hank Peilman, the founding president of the Hanseatic League of Universities. So please welcome President Peilman. President Peilman, sorry, we cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, dear participants, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you here for this announcement of the second results of the WURI ranking. It was 3 years ago, in 2018, that I invited presidents from universities all over the world to come to the city of Groningen for the 220th anniversary of the Hanse University of Applied Science in the city of Groningen. And we met each other and discussed a lot of themes. And one of them was a new ranking system. During that conference, we founded the Hanseatic League of Universities, and some of you are members of the league, and others maybe want to be in the next future. But we also discussed a new ranking system, and it was President Cho, president of Incheon National University, Korea, who said, we want to set up a ranking systems for new innovative universities. Universities would call themselves engaged with their region, with their nation, with the goals of the United Nations, and want to have impact on society. And a year later, in 2019, during the second conference of the Hanseatic League of Universities, President Cho could announce the WURI ranking. And last year, we could see the first results of the first Ranking. Of course, we all hoped to see each other live, but it is not possible because of the corona situation in the world. But it is a great honor for me to announce that next year we will have the third conference of the Hanseatic League of Universities at Belgorod National University in Russia. And I hope we can meet each other there. And over there, we also can hear the results of the third WURI ranking. I want to thank Professor Cho, President Cho, and Professor Moon for their tremendous work for this ranking system. And I want to congratulate them that this year much more universities participate in our ranking. So we all want to hear what the results of the second ranking system is. And I thank you for your attention. And I hope we can learn from each other, because that's also a goal of WURI Ranking. Learn from each other, be engaged, and have impact on society. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, President Paiman. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Jonas Hartel to deliver his speech. Mr. Hartel is Chief of Executive Director, Office of UN Institute for Training and Research. Please welcome Mr. Hartel.
Thank you so much, and warm greetings and good afternoon from Geneva, Switzerland, where I sit at the moment. Good evening, of course, to all our colleagues and participants in Seoul. I'm really glad and thrilled to be here at the launch of the second iteration, the 2021 WURI Ranking, and represent the UN Institute for Training and Research. We are proud to support this second time that the ranking will be launched, together with the Institute for Policy and Strategy on National Competitiveness, one of the partners we are beginning to engage with also on other projects. And of course, I also wish to thank the other organizers and co-sponsors and supporters, the Hanseatic League of Universities, the Institute for Industrial Policy Studies, and the Taylor Institute at Franklin University, Switzerland. With the Franklin University Switzerland, we have a joint master program with a number of very engaged students. So the topic of universities and engagement of universities is very dear to the Institute's work. The WURI Ranking for Innovative Universities is designed to highlight and appreciate the efforts of universities to enable learners to respond to present and future challenges. That's the mission statement. And it is aligned with the growing demands from some entrepreneurs, but of course also the topics that society and the environment demands of business. This past year, we have just heard, it has been challenging for everyone. COVID-19 is on the mind, and every university and any organization, of course, had to cope with the situation as well. COVID-19 has served as a reminder that we live in a closely interdependent world that brings opportunities, but of course carries dangers, as we have seen over the last month. It has, just as importantly, shed light on a whole series of pre-existing conditions, from heightened inequality to rampant environmental destruction. And yet opportunities and willingness to collaborate, create partnerships, and enhance collective action is also increasing. Despite the circumstances, the discourse and action on creating progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, one of the main programs and agendas that we at the UN are pushing for, is very evident. Universities are key stakeholders to support achieving the Sustainable Development Goals through education, research, and thought leadership. At UNITA, we are systematically aiming to scale up innovation for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. We support, implement, and improve innovative practices through training and capacity building, oftentimes in partnership with universities, that can help produce critical skills and trainings to meet today's needs. During the decade of action for sustainable development, there is a particular urgency to make progress on youth mobilization, innovation for our ecosystems with, for example, new technologies and digital skills, and creating professional opportunities for sustainable development. We look forward to seeing how the universities that are featured in the WURI ranking are responding to these challenges. And in anticipation of the results of this year's ranking, I congratulate all participating universities. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to today's discussions and of course the results from the second WURI ranking.
Thank you, Mr. Hartel. To continue, the third speaker I would like to invite is President Greg Warden. He is the president of Franklin University, Switzerland. Please welcome President Greg Warden.
Thank you, and good afternoon to one and all from Lugano. I am on the other side of Switzerland from Jonas, but it's a small country, as you know, so we're actually not that far apart. On behalf of Franklin University, Switzerland and the Taylor Institute, I want you to know that we are deeply honored to participate in today's event. And I personally want to thank founding President Teilman of the Hanseatic League of Universities, President Cho, and Professor Moon for all that they've done to make this event and this ranking a success. For us, today's event is a great example of what collaboration can achieve, collaboration on a global scale. At Franklin, we're especially appreciative of this kind of collaboration because we're a small global institution. Our university was founded on the Anglo-American liberal arts model, but we are a Swiss institution that connects the traditions of the liberal arts, that is, traditions of broad interdisciplinary inquiry, with the values of Switzerland. Universities must be about values. A university is an institution that generates and preserves knowledge, in other words, research, but is also a place that produces generations of educated individuals, its alumni. So we produce as universities knowledge and people, and both of these products need to have impact that is ethical, positive, and responsible. Traditional rankings using traditional metrics have not been as successful at measuring that qualitative approach. What the WURI rankings are seeking to capture, the impact. A single idea, a single article, a single speech, a single word can change the world. In this regard, the smallest institution can have as much impact as the largest, the poorest as much impact as the best funded, and the least known as much impact as the most famous. So Switzerland is our model, a small country of 4 languages at the heart of a sometimes contentious continent that leads through example with a genuine concern for the world order. Our Taylor Institute's vision statement is quite explicit. We embrace the values of Switzerland, civil discourse, and sustainable solutions for future peace and prosperity. We create leaders who are responsible, compassionate, and collaborative. These are the values that we aspire to at Franklin. And today's event is a great example of those values and what can be achieved through global collaboration. I am grateful that we could be a part of this event, and I'm looking forward to the results. Thank you again.
Thank you, President Warden. The last but not least, we will have Dean Xiangbing of Chengkung Graduate School of Business, Changjiang Shangxue Yuan, to give a speech. Please welcome Dean Xiangbing. You have to unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with you my views. And first and foremost, I would like to congratulate all of you, not only Professor Moon, Professor Chiu, but also the committee members for this great undertaking. You know, today we're living in the era of multiple disruptions taking place at one point in time. Not only the economic ones, but also, you know, the technology disruptions. Some of them are really a singularity point, the political, the social, the geopolitical, and ecological as well. And now we are we're coping with the challenges posed by COVID-19. So this may be the first time in human history we have so many disruptions, transformative changes taking place in one point in time. In that regard, so definitely there's a new roles, a new responsibility for university school to play a positive role in dealing with those challenges. Our school has been trying to experiment, to innovate with different ways, different models for the business school for the past 2 decades. The first key innovation we have introduced is to go beyond the traditional focal points of business schools, which is usually professional management, as represented by this popular MBA program. So the first deviation from that was initiated at the very beginning of the school, so what I call the top of the pyramid, by focusing upon chairman, CEO of many top companies, you know. And then into this era of disruptions, no matter how smart, how intelligent, how experienced you are, you need to learn not only from the faculties, but also from the peers around the globe for this new source of disruptions, new perspectives, you know. And then we have succeeded in that regard by coming up with innovative curriculum to serve chairman, CEO of many top companies. Like as for today, we have 1,600 alum around the globe, and about half of them are chairman and CEO level. The second line of extension is what I call economic disruptions, you know, something I shared last year. So what I mean by that, I look at the experience of China, or Chinese way developing the economy. One thing that's really separating China from other economy is the extent of economic disruptions as measured by the newly emerged large-scale companies and newly minted billionaires. For example, from 2001 to 21, Chinese Fortune 100 companies increased from 11 companies to 117. From 2001 to 2021 by Forbes, 2001, China had 1 billionaire. Last year, 626 billionaires. And you look at the ranking of the richest people in China. From 2010 to 2021, the 10 richest people in China, only one stayed as 10 richest people as 2021. That's Pony Ma, chairman of Tencent. All other 9 disappeared from the top 10 richest people in China. So this is what I mean. The extent of economic disruptions. So the economic disruption is a key to future economic prosperity and social harmony. And because you gotta give young people a chance of moving up, they gotta have a chance, whether you're democracy or authoritarian, for the social stability, this is necessary. So from 2015, like especially some of the country like EU or Japan, for example, in Korea as well, you know, and you can be noted for your excellence in innovations, but the disruptions I'm talking about may be missing. And you look at the list of unicorn companies, you know, China, US dominate. So the EU, Japan, and maybe Korea also need to improve as well. So the school, since 2015, we have worked with many top companies in China to start this new project of fostering next generation economic disruption. I mean, unicorn, soon to be unicorn type of companies. We did well in China, we experimented in Europe by working together with Churchill College, Cambridge, also did well in ASEAN countries. So we're in the process of expanding this experiment into Korea, Japan, and Latin America and other regions as well. So this is what I see the new role for business schools, you know, to be truly a catalyst for change, not only economic desirable, but socially important. We need to do more global good in that regard. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Xianglin. Please give a warm round of applause for all the 4 speakers.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the keynote speech by Professor Dongzheng Cho. He is the second president of Hanseatic League of Universities and also the chairman of Institute for Industry Policy Studies. So he will give the speech about the historical background and importance and also expected impacts of WURI ranking. So please give a warm welcome, a big applause. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Yun. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and possibly good night. Well, it's a real pleasure for me to meet all my close friends through the Zoom screen. And in particular, I'd like to express my sincerest appreciation of President Hank Pillman, who has actually led us through this long process as the founding president of Hanseatic League of Universities, as well as President Greg Worden, who has been so helpful in leading us again into this podium, and certainly President Dean Bing-Shang, who has been always my spiritual mentor, as well as all of you who have been with us throughout the whole process. Well, today I'd like to sort of lead as a kind of prelude to the main speech by Professor Moon-Hui Chung, who has been the founding director of this WURI ranking, who will tell us the kind of philosophy as well as the central piece of today's presentation, that is the ranking of this year's WURI 2021 Top 100. So how the whole concept of this WURI ranking was started? Well, you might remember that some of these materials were presented in my presentation 2 years ago in 2019, when we had the second annual conference of Hanseatic League of Universities at the International University campus. And then last year, about this time, June 11th to be exact, last year, for the inaugural release of the WURI ranking. At the time, I mentioned that there are more than 30,000 universities in the world, but not all of these universities have the same objective. They have a number of objectives, but perhaps we can sort of categorize all of these universities into two groups or two categories of objectives. The first one is to prepare for the next 100 years. That is that the main purpose of our universities is to lead the human race into unpredictable future with science and technologies in humanities, in social science, and in natural science, as well as in engineering and other fields. And with this objective, we can really conquer the world that we have not experienced in the past. And some of these universities with successful results may be handsomely rewarded with the Nobel Prizes and other prizes that the whole world offers. So these are the universities that we highly appreciate. They are the kinds of Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and so on. But not all of the universities in the world have the same objectives of these sort of highly esteemed universities. Practically, 99.9% of all the universities have the second objective. That is to serve the society. That is to serve our friends, our neighbors, those in need today, not in the future. And in particular, the industries that will provide us with all kinds of materials, sort of supplies and necessities, which I don't think would be less important than the first one. Although we know the universities that pursue the first objective, and we expect them very highly. But at the same time, most of us are belonging to the universities that really want to solve the problems that are being faced in today's industries and society. And unfortunately, however, the current ranking system of the universities sort of serve the universities which pursue the first objective, but not the second objective. And I believe that the time has come for us to create a second sort of kind of ranking system which will serve the universities which pursue the second objective. Well, graphically, there are about 50 to 100 universities which will shoot for the next 100 years with Nobel Prize kinds of rewards. But then there are thousands and tens of thousands of universities which pursue a different objective, which pursue the problems which are really within our reach. So these universities, which try to serve the society and industry today with real impact, is what we want to cater toward. Well, I was sort of comparing this Miss Universe pageant versus Mr. Universe pageant, which should have different criteria for evaluating the prize winners. That is why we are here today. And then there are a certain sort of issues we may need to cater toward. The first one is the emergence of artificial intelligence. And I think this emergence of artificial intelligence with the fourth industrial revolution that we face today are not the easy things for us to do. So we have to form an alliance and also a system of mutual learning in order to cope with this problem. The problem which may provide us with the opportunities. And then with this coronavirus, with COVID-19, we have another challenging issue. Now, online education has not only become a commonplace, but has become a must. And with this new normal, I think universities have to face another serious challenge. And this issue will not go away, even though most of us may get vaccinated. Still, we are facing a new challenge, which perhaps we can make a kind of collaboration together to take this issue, to challenge this challenge. And then the third issue is that now we see an increasing number of real competitors to existing universities, which I call neo-boutique universities. Well, these neo-boutique universities have a number of characteristics, and I just sort of made a list of the universities that belong to these neo-boutique universities, which are relatively young and which are very highly specialized in one or a few majors. And also, these universities have common characteristics of being established by successful entrepreneurs or some institutions which believe that the kind of universities today should serve the industry more in the way that the graduates of the universities should be used readily at these industry and institutions rather than the graduates of the universities having to go through months of education before they are put into the seats in the real industry, in the real world. But the problem is that the universities do not meet the expectations of the industry. And then there are a number of ranking systems which, one way or another, serve the universities in a very appropriate way. And most of the universities consider these university rankings very highly. However, there are some missing areas that are not being covered by these university ranking systems. The first one is the academicism. I think the academicism is what they prefer. And however, these academicism-oriented ranking system leave the universities which try to serve the real world with practice orientation, with practical orientation for real impact upon society. And then these universities have a kind of one single criterion, one single set of criterion or combination of the criteria so that they sort of unexpectedly lead all the universities moving toward the same direction. But nowadays, we need to have universities with differentiation. Differentiation requires sort of the the evaluation criteria to be as differentiated as what the universities pursue in the name of differentiation. However, the existing evaluation system, ranking system, lacks the this diversity. The third one is past orientation. Now, past is important for preparing the future, but past is not enough for us to move into the future. However, the existing university ranking systems use only the past data without due consideration of the university's effort to move forward in the name of innovation, creativity, and as Din Xiang said, social disruptions and so on. So this past orientation makes universities which try to move forward sort of helpless in the evaluation system. And then it is a very uneasy to mention this one, but commercial orientation. That is that most of the ranking systems are being administered by the profit-seeking organization. I would not mention it. Therefore, the ranking system is used as a kind of money-making device. I don't think it is right. I don't think it is right for universities to have to pay money for, to increase their standing in the ranking system through advertisement, through consultation, and so on. So I think we have to have a system which do not have this commercial orientation. So with all of these problems of the existing university ranking systems, I hope that we create a new ranking system which take into consideration the following aspects. The first one is real impact upon society. In other words, the universities which pursue this real impact upon society, such as new boutique universities, should be treated, should be ranked high. So new boutique universities for existing universities should be welcomed in the ranking system so that the existing universities can learn from them. We should be learning from these new boutique universities about how they attract attention of the young people. I think that we need, that we critically lack in the existing university system. Therefore, the new ranking system should include these new boutique universities, whether they have the license to offer degrees, to confer degrees to students or not. There are universities which are not really universities in the traditional view, such as Singularity University in the United States, or École 42 in France. They don't confer any degrees, yet they take away high school graduates from existing universities. Therefore, they are competitors. In another sense, they are partners. So we should have a ranking system which evaluate these new boutique universities along with the existing universities. The second one is startup efforts, which are being exercised by practically every institution, every universities in the world. I believe that Hansa University is one of the leaders in these startup efforts. I was told that there are more than 400 cases of student startups by Hansa University alone. I'm sure that most of you in different universities pursue the startup efforts by students as well as professors. There's not a single ranking system in the world which take into account the startup efforts by these universities, which is absurd. I believe that the current existing systems are far from the reality in that sense. Number three, ethical education. Now we are moving into the world where environment, societal and governance, ESG, is becoming more important than ever by major companies. And at the center of this new effort is ethical education. Again, there is no existing ranking system of the universities which take into account universities' efforts to provide ethical education to students. We have to have this ranking system which take into consideration this sacred mission of the universities to offer ethical education to students. Number four, we have to learn from each other, from one another. I believe that every single university in the world has a certain effort, movement to become a better university than before, than other universities. I think there are ample opportunities for us to learn from one another. The current, the existing ranking system only provides statistical number. We may be jealous of the statistical numbers from provided by other universities, yet there's nothing that we can learn. I believe we need substance from other universities so that we can learn. We need to collect the cases of innovation, cases of disruptions, cases of creative ideas, so that through the exchange of such ideas, all of us can be better than the last year. Finally, we have to become more futuristic than past-oriented. I believe that we are moving toward the future. We are not going back to the future, going back to the past. So every effort of the ranking system should be leading us to move into the future. That is how we have been devising a new system called WURI Ranking System. And this idea, as President Pillman had mentioned, was started about 3 years ago on the campus of Hansa University of Applied Sciences, and then moved to International University. Last year, unfortunately, we could not have the actual conference at North Arizona University. However, we were able to do it through the Zoom. Now we are moving to the third year And the whole effort of Hanseatic League of University was, from the very beginning, the practice-oriented, custom orientation, external orientation, and learning orientation. And all of these philosophy of Hanseatic League of Universities was sort of brought into the new ranking system. So that was last year. And also all the participating universities and their presidents and rectors will are becoming the contender for the ranking, but at the same time, they become evaluators of all the cases that are being collected, so that we can learn from one another. Yes. And now today, we are going to release the second list of global top 100 by Professor Moon-Hui Chang. With this, I will close my presentation and hope that Professor Moon will make us excited about the ranking result. Thank you very much, and hope to see you next year on the campus of Belgorod State University in Russia. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman To. So if you have any questions, you can utilize the Zoom chat box and leave your questions in the chat box, and we'll take care of them afterwards. Okay. So now we have come to the last session, but also the highlights of today's online conference. And I would like to invite Professor Moon-Hui Chang, and he is the Professor Emeritus of Seoul National University and also the founding director of WURI Ranking. So today he will present the key results of WURI Ranking 2021 and also share the innovative, this year's innovative cases and implications. So please welcome Professor Moon.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the speakers for congratulatory remarks and guest speaker, Dean Xiangbing and Professor Cho. Well, one common point of these speakers is that universities are very important, but the current evaluation system is not satisfied. And that's why we need a different or new ranking system. Where, as we agree, most of the universities around the world today have been suffering from very much difficulty since the coronavirus pandemic broke out last year. So we have to survive. Maybe one step further, we may have to thrive, taking advantage of this threat. So I put like a subtitle of this year's presentation is From Survive to Thrive. How can you do that? We need to know some innovative methods and then ways. So the main point of this WURI system is to learn and share the innovative programs of other universities and share together, and we can improve so we can move from survive to thrive. New ranking system importance and methodology and the rankings of innovative universities, and I'd like to talk about cases, implications, and get to conclusion. What serious challenges for a higher education system? Well, the fourth industrial revolution, for example, the artificial intelligence. So we have to change the mission or the role of academia from just intellectual curiosity to practical education to observe or to tackle these new multiple disruptions, right? The second one is the coronavirus pandemic. So we have experienced to teach from offline to the online, and it's going to go on. So the conclusion is post-coronavirus pandemic, back to normal or new normal. This is to say, even if we go back to normal, where the teaching methods or the role of universities might not be the same as before, we may have to change. And here, universities need a different approach to be more innovative. And that is the main theme or the role of this WURI ranking system. Well, there are some problems with existing models, but Professor Dong-Soon Cho already explained existing models, and there are some problems like this. So let me just get back to our model, a new approach, the real impact on the world, not just academic, but practical as well as academically analytical. Number one is industry applications and entrepreneurial spirit and value creating startups, and ethical value and social responsibility, and student mobility and openness. And as announced, we have added one more criterion to reflect the current day's kind of environmental issue that is coronavirus. So we put crisis management, how to tackle the current threat. Well, in the end, we'd like to thrive rather than just to survive this pandemic issue. So there are 5 criteria for this year. And these are the criteria for evaluation. Along the 5 categories, we evaluate these 3 factors. Innovativeness. How innovative is your program? But even if it is very innovative, if it is not doable, then it might be nothing. So we also measure implementability, the doability. And also, even if it is doable, but the impact, the result might be minimum, then cost may outweigh the results. So we may not like it. So we also measure the impact. Innovativeness, implementability, and impact. For each of these 3 criteria, we also measure the sub-factors like the content and process of innovativeness, the cost and benefit of implementability. If you have unlimited resource, then you can do almost everything. But in everything, you need the money. So we have to compare the cost and benefit for implementability, and for impact and the scope. This is to say, if you have one very innovative program, but that is just applied to one particular department, and the other case is your innovative case may be applied to all the universities and schools and things like that, then we have to think about the scope of your impact and also intensity, how deep is your influence of that evaluation. So this is kind of the evaluation platform, evaluation system. And this is the process of evaluation, evaluation 1, phase 1, and 2, and 3. We have gone through all these 3 phases, and then I'm gonna present the results of these evaluations. The rankings of innovative universities. Let me say like this before I present. So I'm going to present these 2 things today to be presented at the online conference. I'm going to present top 50 in each of the 5 categories first. So 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, total 250. And then I'm going to explain, I'm going to present the global top 100. So these are the 2 things that I'm going to present today. But I'm going to put up all this information on our website very soon in the next few days. So to be uploaded on the WURI website, this is the website address, the URL. So these 2 things, like top 50 and global top 100. We also would like to include global top 101 to 200 and also 201 to 300. As the applicants are becoming larger and larger, we'd like to include more, even if we announce and we actually appreciate the top 100, but we also publish or also announce that the second 100 and the third 100. And I will also put up all these presentation slides on our website and other related information. We will also create a Q&A section. So if you have any ideas and questions and any comments, you can send your comments and opinions to this email address, or you can put that on the WURI world, okay? So we are growing very fast. Now, top 50, the 5 categories. The first category is industrial application, and these are the results, the top 50. Okay. Well, again, I'm going to put all this information on our website, so you can just look whether your school is included or not. Well, let me just mention a few school names. The number one is Minerva Schools at KGI, followed by MIT, Carr Institute of Technology, Stanford, Arizona State, Oxford and Tsinghua, California Merced, Incheon National, Olin College, CKGSB, Cambridge, Singularity, U of Technology Sydney, and Kyoto, and Gothenburg, and Brapa University in Thailand, Ohio State, Temple of Finland, Belgorod, Russia, Simon Fraser in Canada, Franklin, Switzerland, Griffiths, Australia, and Changwon, and then Hankuk University of Foreign Studies in Korea. So these are our top 25. On the top places, mostly the American, very major universities are positioned. So this is to say, not just small startup kind of schools, but also the major universities such as MIT and then Stanford, they are very much innovative. Yes. But that does not mean that only the major universities are innovative. We should not ignore the innovative nature of these small and medium-sized and growing universities. So we would appreciate those universities. So we can say the Ivy League, Stanford, and then some others, MIT, and then Harvard, these are like a major league evaluation kind of system. But we'd like to include not just some of these, but also like a growing, like a very much innovative kind of universities. It's like a unicorn university, something like that. So in our ranking system, these two different kinds of the universities are included. So I would call it, this is like a special league. It's not minor league, but this is a special league. And there is a difference between the rank, kind of like the rankings and some others. So these are the top 50 in industry application. And if you look at the others here, like Australia, Korea, and Turkey, Germany, and the distribution is pretty much well distributed among different regions of the world. So I'm not going to go over all these things, but you can briefly look at and see whether your university is included or not. Okay, the next one is top 50 entrepreneurial spirit. Here we go. Number one, Hanze University of Applied Sciences. I'll explain why this is selected, number one. And then IALTO, Simon Fraser, Princeton, DIT of Germany, California, Berkeley, Chicago, Tokyo, Monash, and George Mason and Aulu, Instituto Peticano, and Portugal, Temple, Twente, Basel, and Indira Gandhi in India, and Trevin in Vietnam, and Kyushu of Japan, Northern Kentucky University of USA, Beijing Technology and Business University in China, and Rensselaer Polytech in the USA, and Queen's University in Canada, and REDC of Slovenia, FEU from Philippines, and Draper, USA. So this is like a pretty good combination of different regions and different types of universities, not just major universities, but small and medium-sized universities which are growing very fast are included here. And on the right-hand side, from 26 to 50, Cambodia, USA, Bangladesh, Korea, and many Asian, and European universities, Philippines, Indonesia, India, Malaysia, India, Singapore, USA, and Sweden. This is like a pretty good combination of different kinds of universities. So anybody can be included in our WURI ranking system. On the other hand, the major ranking systems like QS and THE and only major research-oriented universities are included. Well, I do not deny that research is not important. It's important, but sometimes we need to be more innovative in adapting to the real world. The next one is ethical value. And here is top 50. Ecole 42, UPenn and Harvard, Florida State, Franklin, Columbia, University College London, Duke, Yale, Arjun University of Korea, Pratt and Egypt, and College Dublin, Ireland, Indonesian and Telkom University, U of Lincoln in UK, Florida Gulf Coast University, Far Eastern of Philippines, Monash of Australia, Seoul School of Integrated Sciences and Technology of Korea, and Cranfield, UK, Gyeongbok University of Korea, and Split, Croatia, and then India and Australia and USA and Portugal. So this is again good combination of different types of universities. And here on the right-hand side, again, the entries are from Australia, Vietnam, Australia, some Australian universities, and Korea, Slovenia, Cambodia, Philippines, Bangladesh, Peru, India, and Canada, Bangladesh again, USA, Indonesia, USA, and Slovenia, and Lithuania. So the point is, the president of these universities from developing countries, and these university heads, the president or deans of these universities from different countries are struggling to be more creative, and there should be a system to appreciate this kind of effort so that those schools will improve and will develop. But if you just evaluate based on the number of papers published and things like that one, then the president of universities might not be that much motivated. So this is a kind of reason why we have developed this kind of model. We can give some incentives, some momentum to the leaders or CEOs of the president of the small and medium-sized universities. The student mobility, Boston, followed by National University of Singapore, SNU, Peking University, Copenhagen, and then Turkey, Germany, UK, Australia, Germany, U of Bonn, and Northern Arizona University, and Germany, Korea, and China, Beijing Normal University, USA, Japan, France, and Florida Gulf Coast University, USA, Korea, Austria, U of Vienna, Australia, Monash University, then Egypt, and Hamburger University. This is like a McDonald's and Hamburger University. Now, in the major evaluation system, there's no way for this kind of university to be included, but now we have Hamburger University. Whereas Seoul School of Integrated Sciences and Technology and Toyota Technological Institute and Telkom. So Japan, Indonesia, China, Canada, Australia, and some Asian universities, China, Peru, Albania, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, and America, and Germany. So pretty good combination of different types of universities. The last one, this is a kind of new criterion. So there are some interesting entries here, crisis management. And here is the result. Rafa University from Thailand, and Abdullah University from Turkey, Florida Gulf Coast, Franklin again, and Belgrade from Russia, and then Portuguese, and Germany, and Pakistan, Israel, Tel Aviv, and Taiwan, National Donghua University, and Fiji, Philippines, Indonesia. But they have different kinds of dealing with the urgency or emergency or crisis. So we would like to appreciate those efforts by the president or the heads of those universities. Lebanon from India, Korea, Egypt, Alexandria University, Iraq, and Italy, Korea, Pakistan, and UK, and Thailand, and Chulalongkorn University, very good program. Chinese, Thailand University of Information. And then here again, Philippines, Bangladesh, and Thailand, Korea, USA, Turkey, U of South Florida, USA, Cambodia, Slovenia, USA, India, Indonesia, Egypt, Bard University in Cairo, Netherlands, Hanze, USA, and Belgium, Hong Kong Baptist University, UAE, USA, Indonesia, India, and Indonesia. So, there are different kinds of crisis management kind of policies. So we need to learn with each other their strategies or the methods of dealing with the crisis or external and threat. Okay, now global top 100. Global top 100. Global top 100. This is from 1 to 50, and the next page, next slide is from 51 to 100. So here are the results. The one interesting thing is, the schools highlight in red are kind of, we can say, the boutique universities or new boutique universities. And there's the marked by 1 star and 2 stars, and boutique universities in red with degree programs, that's 1 star, okay? And boutique universities with non-degree programs, and the 2 stars. But anyway, the universities are changing their strategy, so they're just moving around. But to catch kind of big picture, I just classified. But actually, they're moving around from boutique and traditional or non-degree and degree and kind of things. I'm going to wrap up this kind of changing trend now at the end of my presentation in the few next pages. So global top 100, MIT and Stanford, Minerva, Arizona State, and Hansa University, UPenn and California Institute of Technology, and Harvard, Aalto, Ecole 42, UC Berkeley, Princeton, and NUS of Singapore, Tsinghua of China, Boston, SNU, Korea, Oxford and Cambridge, and Duke and Olin College of Engineering, and UC and Merced, Columbia and Simon Fraser from Canada, and Singularity University from USA. So Minerva and Ecole 42 and Singularity, these are kind of very representative, the famous boutique universities, and they are included in the top 25. Incheon, Abdullahi, Peking, DIT, Twente, Florida State, Northern Arizona University, and CKGSB is included here. This is ranked 33. Well, CKGSB is pretty much modernized, the most westernized or the most modernized university in China. I'm going to give a little explanation to this when I go over some cases of the selected ranking universities. Ohio State, Flinders, Beijing Normal, and Sussex, Yale, and Copenhagen, Kyoto, Franklin, Sarah Lawrence, and Bonn, U of Technology, Sydney, Free University of Berlin, and Trinity, Hankuk University of Foreign Studies, University College Dublin, U of Tokyo, and U of Gothenburg. These are from 1 through 50. The second slide, from 51 to 100, again, there are many or several boutique universities, and Toyota Technology Institute, IEDC, and Hamburg universities is included this year, and Seoul School of Integrated Sciences and Technology, and Draper University from USA, and Seoul Institute of the Arts. But anyway, these are like Tempera, Finland, College London, UK, Australia, and USA, George Mason, USA, Portugal, Japan, Germany, and Arjun University of Korea, China, Beijing Technology and Business University, and Indira Gandhi of India, U of Oulu from Finland, and Hong Kong University, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and Egypt, Thailand, France, and Russia, Vietnam, Slovenia, America, UK, and Japanese and Kansai University, USA, some Asian, European and American firms, Malaysia again, Asia, Japan, Australia, USA, and Korea, Australia, Korea, USA, Thailand, Vietnam, Korea universities, Chungwon University, Latvia, Korea, China, Thailand, and Peru, Korea, and Bangladesh. So these are like 100 universities selected for global top 100. But as I announced, the global, another 100, the total 1 to 100 and 101 to 200, and all these 300 will be uploaded on our website. Okay, now let me explain some cases. Oh, there are so many interesting and very much meaningful cases, but I cannot go over them. So I just chose 2 cases for each of these 5 categories. 2 for category 1, that is industry application, entrepreneurship, and ethics. But I'm going to go very briefly. So 2 cases for each of these 5 categories. But we're going to, again, upload all the cases on our website, so you can look at them in more detail. Cases and implications. So number 1 is industry application. Minerva Schools at KGI, collaborations between students and local organizations or community leaders, and all the universities in the world do like this. Then why did you choose Minerva? Because they are moving around like a residential 7 cities around the world, as you know, San Francisco, Hyderabad, and Berlin, London, Taipei, Seoul, and Buenos Aires. And then they are trained to build up their communication skills across and different cultures. So they are more realistically adapted. So travel is not just travel, but they will build up their communication skills, interpersonal skills, and they are more practically oriented. So this is unique. And the next case is CKGSB. And CKGSB's executive MBA program is very impressive. In-class incubator, the students present the real business proposals, and they receive professional feedback from professors and real-world industrial experts. It's really kind of incubator type of like a class. They also are involved in pressing social issues, and they work with like a government, civil society, and non-profit organizations. But what is more impressive about this program is they are emphasizing humanities. So they are most kind of contemporary type of MBA school in China. It's a private school, but they are also like kind of tackle like old ancient Chinese wisdom or the Asian wisdom to cover the 4 dimensions of heaven, earth, self, and group, like heaven, earth, and self and group. This is like a traditional yin-yang theory of old Chinese wisdom. So they are trying to integrate these old Chinese wisdom or Asian wisdom into the Western skills or techniques of business schools. So integrating the modern Chinese and Western perspectives so that they can be more kind of like skillful in adapting to the real world for industrial application. Entrepreneurship, U of Chicago provide resources that startups need to succeed. And there are many interesting programs. You can refer to these programs later. Social New Venture Challenge Program, Carson Social Venture Fellowship Program. Anyway, one thing is the U of Chicago they are trying to integrate the business fundamentals and skills to solve or to drive the social sector innovation. So this is they're utilizing like a profit organizational type of business techniques to the non-profit organizations, go back and forth. So this is pretty much innovative. And Hanze University of Applied Sciences, they create startups based on applied research outcomes. Number 2, all of the Hanze's 30,000 students are exposed to this kind of Hanze entrepreneurship model. And also all the professors of all 15 schools have been more or less trained. So this is like a all around the campus program for all the students and all the professors. So they're very active and innovative for entrepreneurial spirit. Ethical value, UPenn, and the project name is Wharton Impact Venture. They're working in social impact careers. They are particularly interested in African small and medium-sized enterprises. And this is very interesting, so you can refer to this program later. And the U of College London, and they are trying to provide assistive, helpful technologies to the people with disabilities, with a particular focus on children with hearing and sight impairments. So they are not just helping the people with special needs, but they are developing assistance technologies, helpful technologies for sustainable, continuing basis of help. This is very much ethical, it's kind of ongoing. It's not just one-time ESG, but like ongoing ESG type of ethical values. Student mobility. The Boston University, when we talk about student mobility, we're just talking about the travel on land, but this is like the travel on sea. This is sea travel, CSEA, the Sea Education Association, Sea. This is ocean-related theme using a cross-disciplinary approach, global ocean change. They navigate by the stars and they're visiting foreign ports. So mobility through sea or through on sea. This is very, very innovative to some extent. And then Hankuk University of Foreign Studies is pretty good at internationalization of their programs. I just picked up some cases from the evaluations of the evaluators. They have a very strong global exchange program. Number one is the Model UN, Model United Nations Conference. This is the first in Korea and one of the best foreign language conferences at university level. They're also very much academic, and they have another program that is a global academic conference to host international academic conference on diverse subjects and encourage global research collaboration. And because of the coronavirus pandemic these days, they have extended the new program that is virtual exchange programs to promote global mobility by providing the virtual setting for partner universities and international students to break through the COVID-19 pandemic. So they have like a pretty good and continue to innovate like a new international programs. That's why we chose this school's international exchange program. Now the final one is crisis management. MIT, so this is impressive too. The Community Innovators Lab, and they are doing like some collaboration between the MIT and community organizations. When there's a crisis like COVID-19, they contact tracing and loss of jobs in child cares, and they open online collaboration platform to develop answers to pandemic kind of problems. So they are trying to continue to develop like potential like answers or information about dealing with the crisis like coronavirus 19. But there is another school which is more specific about dealing with this crisis or pandemic case. That's Florida Gulf Coast University's COVID-19 Business Impact Assessment. They have specific phases of dealing with this crisis. Phase one, initial survey of what's going on in this world. So what is the baseline economic conditions? And they published that kind of report. One more time, phase two, they conducted follow-up surveys of how this baseline changed, and then they published the result. Phase three, collecting phase one and phase two results, and they utilize them to execute their real activity, in-depth economic and impact analysis, and they performed. It's still ongoing. It's very much specific in dealing with a crisis such as COVID-19. Okay, it's almost kind of, I'm coming to the end. Emerging challenges, regions and nations. The composition of the universities of the countries is like that. North America, 33, Asia, 33, Europe, 25. So same numbers, but if you look at the qualities, the so-called average ranking, the North American companies, North American nations, the universities average is 35. The ranking average is 35, but Asia is 64 and Europe is 46. So still the American universities are a little relatively dominating the rankings. And number of universities, USA, followed by Korea, Australia, and China, UK, Japan, Germany, and Finland. This is actually the last slide, emerging challenges. Now, the highlight of this ranking system is to award or appreciate the neo-boutique universities, which are very innovative and moving very fast, but kind of neglected by existing ranking system. So we have provided a 2x2 table, traditional and non-traditional. So neo-boutique universities are kind of non-traditional, and degree program and a non-degree program. And there are some examples. But the problem is now they are moving around. Some degree programs are going to be non-degree, or some of the non-degree programs are credited into the degree program. So they are just like moving between these two, and also non-traditional. For example, Minerva School started with like non-degree programs, but some of the programs are now counted as like a regular programs. So they are just moving around. But in the end, even between these two, traditional and non-traditional, they may be like moving around, go back and forth and up and down. In the end, there are many different types of unique universities, not just single goal, but kind of everybody's unique, something like that, like in the next few decades. So the line between traditional and non-traditional universities has become blurry, and both tend to address the real world issues for their education and research. But anyway, they have to, now they are addressing more and more the real world oriented rather than purely academic oriented. Okay, conclusion. One. So we have identified new roles of universities. It's not just knowledge creation and transfer, but we have to provide solutions to the diverse needs of society. Multiple disruptions and different kinds, like a Swiss value or like the European value or the Hanseatic values. Number two, new ranking system, not just traditional academic performance, but to more real impacts on the real world. We have to help the real world immediately, right? There's a crisis. The third one is new trend. The universities are now more and more engaged with society and environment. So it's kind of ESG. So they're even changing their governance. So universities are moving to adapt to the new requirement of society, that is ESG, and they are doing like that. So both traditional and neo boutique universities are moving this way. The last one is a new challenge, coronavirus, COVID-19, pandemic, and after. After COVID-19, are we gonna be back to normal? Well, maybe not. Maybe move forward. This may be a kind of like a difficult time, but it may provide us an opportunity to thrive, to be more prosperous. So from survive to thrive. But anyway, the conclusion is, the real value or the real uniqueness of this ranking system is not just to evaluate, but to learn and share the new innovative programs of other universities and share with each other. So we say like the main point of the theme of this system is cross-learning and innovation. So once again, we're gonna upload all the cases on our website, so you can read them, look at them, we can learn with each other, and we can be creative and we can be innovative. Thank you very much.
Here we have the pleasure of the representatives of Belgorod State University in Russia, which is going to sponsor the host the third annual conference of Hanseatic League of Universities. And may I have the pleasure and honor to invite Vice Rector of Belgorod University to make a speech to introduce the university as well as the invitation speech. Vice Rector, may I have you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Warm greetings from Russia. I'm glad to greet everyone present at this honorable and wonderful event. First of all, and above all, I'd like to congratulate all the participants and the nominees of the top 50 WURI 2021 ranking. You've performed great and your cases are worth studying and implementing. Special thanks for the hosts of WURI Ranking and in particular, Mr. Moon, for a great job. I would very much like to thank Mr. Cho and Mr. Pillman for making this possible. I mean, this story going on for years, and I do wish that it will keep on going. Well, dear friends, we have been living through a very difficult year. The pandemic hasn't yet been defeated, and we are beginning to get used to the new normal, as one calls it. Throughout the year, our main task has been to preserve the health and safety of students and professors and the staff, and to ensure a high level of education at our university as before. We seem to have coped with this hard task. I'm sure that at your universities, you are solving the same problems, you are facing the same challenges, and you are doing quite successfully. All of us should look into the future with hope, and we are pleased to confirm our willingness and our readiness to host the third conference of the New Hanseatic League of Universities in Belgrade, Russia, next year. We very much hope that neither the pandemic nor any other force majeure circumstances will prevent our meeting in May next year to discuss the renaissance of academic and industrial cooperation and to unite even more in achieving common goals in the name of sustainable development. On behalf of the Rector of the Belgrade National Research University, I sincerely welcome all the participants of this conference and kindly invite you to Belgrade, Russia in May 2022. I wish you all good health and every success in all your endeavors. Welcome to Belgrade National Research University. Welcome to Russia. Thank you.
Well, thank you indeed, Vice Rector Vladislav Kuzminski. Am I pronouncing all right? And as Vice Rector Kuzminski invited you all, let us all gather together next year, about this time, I guess, for the third annual conference of Hanseatic League of Universities, in which Professor Moon will officially release the third WURI Ranking of 2022. And it is really wonderful to meet all of you, not through the Zoom, but face to face, which we have been long waiting for. And I really thank you very much, Vice Rector Kuzminski, on behalf of Rector Polukin, and I'm sure that you will be a wonderful host for us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor To and Vice Rector Kuzminski. So next year, we're going to host WURI Ranking in Russia. So hope to see you in Russia next year. And we are coming to the end of online conference today. So we really appreciate all the presenters and audiences and you for your being here today. We hope this online conference have helped you to better understand the changing role of universities and also a better way of integrating with the society. And also hope this conference can be a platform to the communication among universities for learning and also sharing the experiences for innovation. And so the results, as Professor Moon announced, the results will be posted in our website, wuri.world. So you can visit our website later and for the results and other related information. Thank you very much again. So there will be one final word by Professor Moon.
Well, again, one point that we regret is because this is online conference, we cannot communicate very well. So that's why we'd like to create like a Q&A section on our website. So please feel free to give us like information, comments, and questions or whatever. And then we are also thinking about like providing a more small group, like online conference for that. So some of you would like to like present your own cases like that. We are thinking about that one. So now it is growing very fast. So we are expanding the means and tools of communicating with each other, including like a Q&A session or a small group online, or we are making like a YouTube like that one. But again, please feel free to give us like a comments and questions and ideas. Okay, well, thank you very much. And we will see you officially next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are closing our online conference. Stay safe and keep healthy, and we hope to see you all next year. Thank you. Goodbye.